Welcome back. Thank you all for coming and tuning back in again for another one of our college interview recruiting process focuses. We're going ahead and we're having a chance to talk to another one of Top Flight's former athletes of the year, which is really exciting. So let's go ahead and get started right now. What's your name?
Brittany Laffin.
Awesome. And when you were a junior, what position did you play?
I was a setter.
Okay. Now, what year did you graduate Top Flight?
I graduated in 2015.
Okay. And because, I happened to leak the fact that you were a Top Flight athlete of the year, what year was it that you were the Top Flight athlete of the year?
We just went through. 2012 it was.
Okay. Congratulations. That's always exciting to have someone like yourself have a chance to get some feedback from you and some focus from you. So now, after you were done with Top Flight, what college or university did you go on to compete and play for?
I went to the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point.
Okay. And then what position did you play at that university?
I was also setter.
Awesome. No position change, so that's really cool. And then when did you graduate from that school?
Just this last year, so 2019, May.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Moving on up to the next chapter. That's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go ahead and kind of dive into your recruiting experience and let's kind of look at it from the standpoint of, tell me a little bit about your experience with video and utilizing video and how that helped you get to where you wanted to be from the recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we did video, it started out with just my family members setting up a camera, and then Top Flight helped by always setting up a camera for our matches, and they would film almost everything, and we would have access to it, or I would have access through what my parents videotaped, and we would try to honestly grab anything we could, because you're not just trying to get your best plays of the match, because maybe the college coaches aren't just looking at, if you're a hitter, your best kill. They're looking at what you're doing behind the scene throughout the match. And so we focused on grabbing everything we could. And then you kind of always had it on the side on your computer. And then throughout my recruiting process, I would actually kind of be changing up the video, or I just use kind of like an online video organizer and mash it all together in different ways. But it was easier than I thought it was going to be, definitely.
Sure. Great. Now, during the process of all this time, you mentioned how you kind of were recording almost everything. Of that, how much did you end up using?
I ended up using a good amount of it. I mean, there wasn't too much that I left out. My video, I believe, was maybe 2 minutes, 30 seconds or 3 minutes, just enough for the college host to get a snippet, just so they're not, waiting a long time to finish the video. They just want to know what you can do quickly.
Sure. And
so we didn't opt too much out. We obviously focused on my movement in the courts and plays that I had a lot going on. But it was kind of all over the place. Sometimes we used a lot from a certain match. Sometimes we didn't use too much. It really depended on the team we were playing, the match we did.
Okay. And now, did you span the video that you used? Was it from multiple years, or was it all from 1 year that you pulled it from because you only were recording for that 1 year?
I tried to pull from the most recent matches, just because that's when you're the most experienced in that process. And so obviously I didn't want to have a college coach, looking at maybe 3-4 years ago video.
Sure.
So I wanted them to look at where I was then, so they can see what I can bring to the table, if I was graduating in the next year, 2 years.
Sure. Then when looking at that, so you used all this video and you were really diligent about it. Did you end up feeling like what you did was the right way you wanted to go about it, looking at it from now, looking back at it? Was it the right way that you liked it, or was there ever anything that you're kind of like, maybe I should have done this a little differently, or maybe I should have arranged things differently?
Definitely. So when I first started it, when I was about a junior in high school, I started doing the video. I was one to automatically put, I did an amazing play there, I'm going to put it in Spotlight, and then just cut to the next video of me doing another Spotlight play. But then as I was going through with the college coaches and realizing what they wanted, and then having conversations with me, is that a lot of them were, they wanted to see those great plays by you where you were the star, but they also wanted to see how you play with a team, and maybe you're not, the shining light in that play, but you were helping with it. And so
sure,
if I knew that in the beginning, I probably would not just focus on, all the plays that I put in of just me doing everything pretty much. I would kind of mash it in with how I, worked with the team, so the college coaches could see that.
Sure. Now, it sounds like for the most part, you're referencing the idea or the concept of like a highlight video. Now,
Yep.
Did you ever then go ahead or I guess maybe more so the question is, were you ever asked to provide raw, unedited footage of matches?
I wasn't. Most of my video that I sent was not necessarily like crazy edited. I would kind of start it once I got to know what the coaches wanted, I would start it at a play, let it play out, and maybe even into the next, next few points. And then I would cut to another few. I wouldn't just go,
Sure.
take a couple seconds and a couple seconds. I would let it play out a little bit just so the coaches can see this is what's going on in the play. They don't just see a little snippet.
Right. Well, and that's really interesting, because that's different from what we recently have seen the case tend to be.
Sure.
So that's really cool. I kind of like that approach.
Yeah.
Now let's transition that into then. You utilize video a lot, which is great. So my question then would be, did you take advantage, or did you try to also have a recruiting service help you out in terms of marketing yourself or getting that video out there? Or was everything pretty much through your own elbow grease and hard work?
It was pretty much through me, where, I asked people around me. I had some peers who were kind of going through the same thing and asked how they were doing things. But at the end of the day, it was pretty much me cold calling and emailing the college coaches, sending them, all of my video. And it kind of went from there, just because I felt it was a little bit more informal to contact the coaches directly instead of maybe going through someone. But again, it's your personal preference. I liked having that hands-on experience where I could talk directly to the coach and not maybe have to go through another individual.
Sure. And you actually touched on something I should have also asked about, because I'm curious. So for you, how was it that you got your video out to the coach? You mentioned sending it to them. How was it specifically that you got it to them? Because I know there are a multitude of ways to be able to get video to coaches from an athlete direct to the coach's hand.
It wasn't a specific kind of medium that I remember. I honestly I think I downloaded something off of Google that was just an easy editor where I could take a little bit of different video and kind of mash them together how I wanted. And there was a good amount of free ones. I did it even in an afternoon, and it was easy to kind of pick that apart and add new feed. Maybe if I had a new tournament that I liked the video from, and from there I saved it. It was, it was a bigger file, but it was enough to put on an email that I found really important. And then I would send it to the coaches, and it would be a file that they would maybe just have to download, but they wouldn't have to download an app to see it or anything.
Great. I love it. Definitely an easy way to get direct to the coaches, and then not much hassle with trying to get off the email. So that's really cool. So if you had to kind of now look back, and my question to you kind of wrapping this up would be, what do you wish you would have known back then that you now kind of know about having gone through the recruiting process?
I think I would have known to kind of bug the coaches a bit more, because I was one where I wanted to send everything to them and wait. I didn't want to bug them because I thought they were, they had a lot going on, where looking back at it, the coach that I had, she liked it when, an individual would kind of bug them about it and say, I haven't heard back from you. Go ahead and follow up again, and maybe, the next week do it again. So you could be bugging them, but that means you're on their mind. And I think that's probably what I should have done, where I just I waited a little bit too long in some cases. Obviously I got lucky with UW Stevens Point. It was amazing, but I think I could have even sped up the process by emailing them a bit more. I wouldn't be afraid to do that. Yeah.
Sure. And I guess now with the last part that will leave all the people that are having a chance to watch this interview with, what would be the one piece of parting advice that you would give any athlete in any part of the recruiting process?
Honestly, it's kind of a cliche, but I would say enjoy where you are in the recruiting process, because I remember just being so nervous all the time, where I would look at where other people are at. I see other people getting into colleges already. I would see some people not really starting, but everyone's on their own schedule, and I would just I wish I just relaxed and took in the recruiting process as I went, because everyone's so, what's next, what I have to do next, and always nervous about, their future and not getting there quick enough. But if you have the right tools, you'll get there. So I think just enjoy the process. It's amazing. It's really fun.
Well, yeah. And you only go through it once. So hopefully
Yeah.
You're not so nervous that you get in that position where you just it passes you by and just happens around you. Because I'm sure at some level that definitely is something that allows you to be a little bit more engaged in it as well. So That's really good advice. Thanks for that. Well, again, everyone, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this interview. We were fortunate enough again to have Brittany with us, a former Athlete of the Year. Hopefully we can continue to get more great advice like the stuff that she just provided for us, so that we can make sure that your recruiting experiences are easy and streamlined and as effective and successful as Brittany's were. All right. Thanks so much, Brittany. I really appreciate you taking the time. All right.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Thanks so much. See ya.
Bye.